You're watching the SCAC Swimming and Diving Media Days. Today it's time to take a look into the Southwestern University Pirates men's and women's swimming and diving program. Of course, the men's program coming off a second-place finish last year at the SCAC Swimming and Diving Championships. The women coming off a third-place finish. Again, the Pirates will be led into the 2018-19 season by head coach John Duncan, along with senior swimmer Peter Robinson on the men's side and sophomore swimmer Rehgan Hartsell on the women's side. Coach Peter, Rehgan, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you. It's a pleasure having us.
Coach, I'll start with you now entering your seventh season there at the helm of both the men's and women's programs at Southwestern. What have you learned over the course of your time there that you're really trying to accomplish, early in this preseason, in this camp, early in these first few meets to help really set your team up for success heading into the rest of the season?
It's really having our freshmen come together and having our upperclassmen do a good job as far as making them feel welcome into the program as far as practices, academics, just the Southwestern way of life. So it is a process, and we're going on week 5 now into practices, and we had our inter-squad meet last weekend, and I think they did a really good job in just competing and racing, and so we look forward to Austin College this weekend.
Peter, for you, you're coming off a big step that you took a season ago as a junior, winning the 200 free at the SCAC Championships, finishing second in the 200 back, your first individual all-conference swims of your career. What kind of a springboard does that give you heading into your senior year? How much confidence did you take away from that, and how have you prepared for your senior season?
That was definitely a big moment, definitely in my goal meeting this year. I basically said I now have the confidence to compete with the big boys, and that's pretty real. Now I'm up there with kind of the top tier of the conference, and it's really it's great to see the process going from as a freshman to kind of in the B finals to now going up and being an example for the team. So it's exciting. Last one, fast one.
Rehgan, for you, similar to Peter, you're coming off a huge successful season last year. In your freshman year, the 2018 SCAC Female Swimmer of the Meet at that conference meet, you doubled up winning the 100 and 200 breast. You also won the 200 IM and had a chance to go to the NCAA National Meet as well. I imagine as a freshman, that's tough to kind of even put into perspective, and you probably didn't even have expectations. As you've looked back on that, how have you sort of been able to try and put that performance into perspective, and how much does that give you confidence moving into your second season there at Southwestern?
I look back on it as thinking of how fun it was and how much my team supported me, and that gives me a lot of confidence going into this season and thinking about how we have these new freshmen and so many new people who are also going to support me, and then all the upperclassmen who already know me and just push me even harder. So I think it's going to be a really good season.
For you, Peter, you talked about the confidence that last year gave you. Looking ahead now into your senior season, how have you seen your role sort of change as one of the senior leaders with this group, shouldering that responsibility? 15 freshmen, join this team. That's a huge group in terms of, trying to, establish what they want to come in as freshmen and sort of establish in their own right. So how are you, a leader with this group moving forward into your senior year?
Yeah, for sure. Definitely last year, our senior class, the senior class always kind of defines the culture of the team. So now being part of that senior class, that's pretty much the job that we have now. So definitely just like I mentioned earlier, set an example. I'm always the first one in the pool, last one out of the pool. Kind of just showing these guys what we're about here at Southwestern, how we do it right. Necessarily, it might not be, some little things might not be so important, but it's the principle of it that really, makes the difference in the long run. So, kind of just setting a good culture for these guys, because in the end, they are the future of the team, and I'm only here for one more year.
For you, Rehgan, obviously a ton of success in the pool last year as a freshman. What did you learn throughout the course of that year that kind of gives you even more confidence heading into this sophomore season?
Oh, I definitely learned what a team camaraderie was, because my club team just kind of fell apart at the end, which was really sad. But coming into Southwestern, I had so many friends and a new family that would just always be there for me, especially through the ups and downs. So it was more about how much we loved each other compared to how fast we swam.
Coach, for you, getting back to sort of the start of the season, obviously, swimming is, as I look at it, is sort of has a number of progressions that and marks that you try and hit throughout the course of the season in order to get prepared to head into the championship portion of the season. What have you seen early on from both your men's and women's programs that gives you a lot of confidence and excitement, looking ahead to the rest of the season?
It is a long season. We're about 5 to 6 months combined from September to March. But I think one thing that really defines our program is we have fun, and we want our swimmers to be happy. There's academic stress, there's personal stress, but when you come into our facility, we want to be happy. I'm a pretty goofy coach, and so we get the music going. And that, I think, having fun and continuing going over the course of the 5 months, and we're having fun, we're working hard, we're going to get better. We're going to get faster. And so we continue doing that, and it is a grind, but we do it as a team. We do it as a coaching staff, and we do that, we get better. And it's the experience that we have fun, and overall, it's just an awesome experience.
Peter, finally for you, as you look ahead to the rest of your senior year, what are some of those discussions in terms of the goals for this 2018-19 Men's Pirates swimming and diving program? What are kind of the things that you foresee will be key in order to meet those goals as you look ahead to the rest of the season?
So definitely not going to discuss any specific goals. That's kind of not how we are here. But definitely we are setting our sights on some pretty big things this year, especially with the freshman class we have coming in and the culture changes that we've made going into this year. I think it's going to be a really special one. But definitely setting new standards culturally, I would say, is going to play a big factor into that, because how we go about our work day in and day out, that's going to define what happens, in February at conference. So one way to find out.
And finally, for you, Rehgan, sort of similar to what I asked Peter, coming off a third-place finish at the SCAC Championships a season ago, looking ahead to the rest of this 2018-19 season, what are some of the goals and discussions this women's program has had? Even if you don't want to dive into the specifics, what are some of the sort of bigger picture issues that you're trying to work hard to get better at each day?
Oh, I think for the women's side, our goal is just to be super close and never to be sitting down while one of us is racing. Like, we all want to be cheered for, and so we want the entire women's team to be standing on that side of the pool cheering for, even if it's just one person in the pool or if we're all 8 lanes. So yeah, definitely just us always being there for each other.
And finally, Coach, for you, wrapping things up, just these two programs have successful seasons if what unfolds, if what plays out. What are you kind of looking for from both your men's and women's side that really will sort of help try and define this season to make it successful moving forward?
If most of our swimmers and divers compete at 2 individual events. It's 1 meter, 3 meter. Our swimmers are in 3 individual events. If we walk away with 1 or 2 personal best times in their events, I'd say it's a very successful season. So we break some school records, and it's going to be very successful, and move on to the next level, next step after conference. That would be very successful. So it's a long, like I said, it's a long season. So we have our short-term and long-term goals. We meet with every swimmer individually, and we have our team goals too, but we like to discuss that amongst ourselves. We know what we have to do, and we do it day in and day out. So, but again, it goes to having fun. If we're happy, we're together as a team, things are going to look very good for us in the future.
Southwestern University men's and women's swimming and diving programs. Again, the Pirates will be led once again heading into the season by head coach John Duncan, along with senior swimmer Peter Robinson on the men's side and sophomore Rehgan Hartsell on the women's side. Coach Peter, Rehgan, again, thanks so much for joining us today, and best of luck as you continue to move forward throughout the 2018-19 season.
Thank you. Appreciate it.